We have made it to day 37, and day 37 is entitled Sharing Your Life Message. You may have noticed my friend who's sitting on my lap. I just got back in from running errands, and I will be jetting off here again soon, and he feels neglected, and so he's made his home here on my body. Like, I almost feel like he knows I'm not here to stay. Like, I'm on the move. It's a busy day. So day 37, sharing your life message. I talked yesterday about this week, and it talks about mission and all the things that we should do as Christians. And so today he focuses on sharing your story with other people, sharing your testimony. Now, growing up in Baptist churches, when I think of sharing my testimony, typically I think of it happening on watch night, and people just getting up talking about different ways they've overcome obstacles or things that God has done for them. He wants me to, like, I don't know, he finally left. Okay. In different ways that God has blessed them, helped them overcome, those kinds of things. So that's what I think of when I think of testimony. But in today's chapter, he breaks down like what a testimony should consist of. And I think he's using the term testimony to talk about how you talk to somebody that's not saved. So it's not that testimony service I was just talking about. It's your personal testimony, and he gives you a way to break it down. He talks about practicing it so you'll be more comfortable sharing your story with others, just to compel them to come to Christ. So he has 4 different points to the testimony, so I'm gonna go through and tell you pieces of my testimony. So the first point, he says you should make when you're talking about your testimony is you should tell someone what your life was like before you met Jesus. So I met Jesus a long time ago. I've been saved for a long time. I can remember being a little girl in the country, playing in the yard. Really, we have like a gravel road, but playing on the gravel road and just knowing that I belong to God. Maybe being about 5 years old and just knowing. Now, I've grown up in a church. Well, I've grown up in a family. We've always gone to church. That's always been something that's important. But we didn't really sit around like in my younger years, birth to 5. I don't remember us really sitting around and talking about Jesus in an explicit way or talking about our faith in an explicit way. But we lived our faith. And I don't know if that makes sense to you. So like for dinner or breakfast, before we would sit around the table and eat. So before we ate, everybody would have to say a verse from the Bible, and then we would bless the food and we would eat it. As a child, this is my birth to 5 story. I always said Jesus wept. I didn't know what that meant. I just said what they told me to say, and I moved on. So that's what I mean when I say we practiced our faith, but nobody explicitly sat down and talked to me and said to me, Jesus is the Christ. You know, we love God around here. I remember saying my prayers at night, every night, all those things. So I had all the practices, but I don't remember it being explained to me. This is what's going on. And so that was what my life was like before I met Jesus, before I professed him for myself. I grew up in a household and with a family, an extended family, that just practiced faith, okay? So I shared earlier, days ago, it's in the earlier days, that I was molested when I was younger. So the second question is, how did I realize I need Jesus? I had a lot of guilt and a shame attached to being molested. I had a lot of issues that were left unresolved for me. And I remember being in Sam's with my mom and asking her Like, why do you have to be 12 to get baptized? In my head, that was the number I had created. I was about 9 years old at this time. In my head, that was the number I created, as that's the age that you get baptized. That's the age that you get saved. That's the age that Jesus comes and saves the day. And I think it's because that's about the age my two older cousins were when they got baptized. So I just assumed that's what you do. That's when you can get baptized. So my mom clarified, girl, if you believe in Jesus and you know he's real and he's in your heart, you could be saved today. We don't have to wait. We can be saved today. If you ready to walk down the aisle at church, again, I didn't understand what walking down the aisle at church meant. But like, if you know that Jesus is your choice, like, you can make that choice today. So she talked to the pastor before church, and my mama walked down the aisle with me to the front of the church. And I remember the pastor asking me questions. Do you believe Jesus is the Son of God? And blah, blah, blah. It's very intimidating for a 9-year-old. And part of me was like, bro, we already talked about this back there. Like, why you got me in front of all these people, like, talking loud? I don't like that. But I did it, right? Like, because I wanted to be clean. That's how that ties into my profession of faith. This is how I knew I needed you. I wanted to be clean. And I remember sitting in class, and you go through new members class when you haven't been baptized. Well, at my church. And they talk to you about salvation and what that means. And my teacher at the time, it was a lady, but I don't remember exactly which lady it was. And they had a book, and in the book, there's a car that's dirty, and the car is going through the wash or whatever. They use that to explain salvation, like, and now you're clean. And I was like, great. Now that I have Jesus, all this stuff that has happened to me, because I felt guilt. I felt like it was my fault. All this stuff that had happened to me, I'm clean. New you. Just make sure it doesn't happen to you again, and you're good. I didn't have a good understanding of once you're saved, you're saved. I didn't understand all that then, but I knew I wanted Jesus to be my choice, right? So it did mess with my faith when I got molested again after I got baptized, because I was like, wait, whoa. Are y'all gonna put me back in the water? Because I'm dirty again. So I committed my life. The third step is sharing how you committed your life to Jesus. So I committed my life to Jesus. I started to walk with him. Didn't have a clear understanding, honestly, but I knew I belonged to him. Like, outside of the abuse, outside of all of that stuff, I had a faith and a belief that he saves. And I knew I needed him, and I wanted to be saved, and I wanted to live a life from him. And so I went to church all the time. We stayed at church. Like, we stayed at church. And we're very active in our local church body. I'm gonna have to lint roll myself because this cat is like, anyway. So yeah, the fourth thing he wants us to talk about is the difference that Jesus has made in our lives. So in my life, Jesus has made all the difference. I've faced so many different obstacles through my life, not just molestation, other issues and problems that I've come up against. And the thing that keeps me grounded, and the thing that keeps me going, and the thing that gives me strength to make it through each day is my relationship with Jesus Christ. It has grown, it has matured over the years, it has challenged me, and it's given me courage, it's given me strength. I don't know how people walk and live and exist and don't have a life that is put in Jesus's hands. I often wonder about that. How are people out here making it? How are they surviving? What is their hope? He is my hope. Even when my days are horrible and my weeks are long and stressful, like this week has been long and stressful. Jesus continues to be my hope, and it's my hope for better days, that the best is yet to come, that even when it's hard, he has a master plan for my life. Even if I don't know what it looks like, I can rest knowing that it's all in his hands. So that is my life message. Even when it's messy, he's got it. Even when I don't understand it, he has a plan, and I continue to lean on that. What's your life message? What's your story? Don't be ashamed to share your testimony with someone else. It has the power to help somebody else be free and to help them move past the hard things in life. Okay, on to my next thing. First, very quickly, be ready. The verse for today is be ready at all times to answer anyone who asks you to explain the hope you have in you, but do it with gentleness and respect. And that's 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 15 through 16. Yeah. And I hope my story helps you, blesses you, encourages you, and lets you know all hope is not lost. There's hope to be found in Jesus Christ. Have a fantastic day. I'm running to my next thing.